Hey everybody, it's day 2, Grace and Peace. The theme of this series is All In with Jesus. It's based on the book by Mark Batterson entitled All In. If you want to continue with this theme after the week is over, again, do yourself a favor and buy the book. Thanks for choosing me to be your presenter. I pray you are blessed. Tonight's message is the inverted gospel, or in other words, the gospel flipped upside down. In the 16th century, so like the 1500s, the Renaissance astronomer Nicholas Copernicus challenged the belief that the earth was the center of the universe. You might have heard this before. Copernicus argued that the sun did not revolve around the earth, but rather that the earth revolved around the sun. The Copernican revolution single-handedly turned the scientific world upside down by turning the universe inside out, literally. In much the same way, each one of us needs to experience our own Copernican revolution within. The paradigm shift happens when we come to terms with the fact that the world does not revolve around us, but we revolve around the world. That's a tough pill to swallow. When we are born into this world, like my daughter who interrupted me yesterday, we think that the world revolves around us. We're spoon-fed on the front end and diaper changed on the back end. It's as if the entire world exists to meet our need. Every time you cry, it's someone running to you. And see, that's fine if you're a 2-month-old baby or if you're 3 like my daughter. But if you're 16, 17, 22, now that's a problem if you still think this world revolves around you. So newsflash, you are not the center of the universe. Now, at its core, sinfulness is selfishness. Enthroning yourself, putting your desires, your needs, your plans above all else, that's what sin is. You may still seek God, but you don't seek Him first. You seek Him 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th. You may sing Jesus at the center of it all, that Israel song, but what you really want is for people to bow down to you as you bow down to Christ. It's a subtle form of selfishness that masquerades as spirituality. But it's not Christ-centric, it's me-centric. It's less about serving His purposes and more about Him serving our purposes. So that's why I call it the inverted gospel. Now, who's following who? I'm going to give you the author of the book's testimony real quick, kind of give you an illustration. Most people in most churches think they are following Jesus, but I'm not sure, he said. They may think they are following Jesus, but the reality is they have invited Jesus to follow them. They call Him Savior, but they've never surrendered to Him as Lord. And I was one of them. Trust me, I didn't want to go anywhere without Jesus right there behind me. But I wanted Jesus to follow me, to serve my purposes, to do my will. It wasn't until I was a 19-year-old freshman at the University of Chicago that I had my Copernican revolution. It started with this question: Lord, what do you want me to do with my life? Now, that's a dangerous question to ask God, but not nearly as dangerous as not asking the question. Think about it. I finally got tired of calling the shots. Honestly, I wasn't very good at playing God. Plus, it was exhausting, trying to be God Jr. I stopped trying to find myself and decided to seek God. I couldn't read His Word enough. I got up early to pray. I even fasted for the first time in my life. You should try that, by the way. I meant business. In fact, business as usual went out of business. For the first time in my life, I put God first. And on the last day of summer vacation, I got up at the crack of dawn to do a prayer walk. Our family was vacationing at Lake Ida in Alexandria, Minnesota. The dirt road I walked on may as well have been the road to Emmaus. The cow pasture I walked through may as well have been the backside of the Sinai desert with a burning bush. I felt like Moses. After months of asking, I finally got an answer to my question. I knew for a fact what God wanted me to do with my life. On the first day of my sophomore year, I walked into the admissions office at the University of Chicago and told them I was transferring to a Bible college in Springfield, Missouri to pursue full-time ministry. The guidance counselor thought I was crazy. So did a few friends and family members. Giving up a full-ride scholarship to one of the top-ranked universities in the country didn't make much sense on paper. The logical and practical thing to do would have been to finish my undergraduate studies at University of Chicago and then go to seminary. But I knew this was my all or nothing, my now or never moment. I knew I needed to quit hedging my bets, push all my chips to the middle of the table, and go all in with God. Was it a gut-wrenching decision? Yeah. Did I ever second guess it? More than once. But the true adventure of following Jesus did not begin until I went all in. That's when he became real to me. That is the day I stopped asking Jesus to follow me and decided to follow him. So let me ask the question, Gethsemane, who's following who? Are you following Jesus, or have you flipped over the gospel by inviting Jesus to follow you? Each year, I have the privilege of speaking to hundreds of people at churches and conferences all across the country. At first, I was shocked by the response in a Christian audience to a simple invitation. When I invited people to follow Jesus, about 50% would typically respond. What's astounding about that percentage is the simple fact that 100% of them thought they were already following Jesus. They weren't. They had inverted the gospel. They bought in, but they hadn't sold out. They were half in and half out, like many of us today. At first, I thought this was an anomaly. This couldn't be right. How could half of us get it backward? But I'm afraid it's more normal than we think. And if it is, then we desperately need a new normal. So here's like a holy dare that was made popular hundreds of years ago. A British revivalist issued a holy dare that would change a life, a city, and a generation. One dare. That timeless challenge echoes across every generation. The man said that the world has yet to see what God will do with and for and through and in and by the man who is fully and wholly consecrated to him. Wow. Let me say that again. The world has yet to see what God will do with and for and through and in and by the man who is fully and wholly consecrated to him. The original hearer of that call to consecration was a man named D.L. Moody. When those words hit his eardrums, they didn't just fire across some synapses and go in one ear and out the other. They shot straight to his soul. That call to consecration defined his life, and his life in turn defined consecration. You got that? It was Moody's all-in moment. So maybe as you're watching this video, you can have that all-in moment as well. Everybody knows the importance of prayer. It's basically the difference between the best you can do and the best that God can do. When you pray a circle around the promises of God, the same way the Israelites circled Jericho, you keep circling until he answers. You will get the answer that you need. You can pray like it depends on God, but you got to also work like it depends on you. Prayer and work go hand in hand. You are only one decision away from a totally different life. Of course, it will probably be the toughest decision you ever make. But if you have the courage to completely surrender yourself to the lordship of Jesus Christ, there is no telling what God will do. All bets are off because all bets are on God. D.L. Moody left an indelible print on his generation. In the late 1800s, his sermons contributed to a great spiritual awakening worldwide. And more than a century later, his passion for the gospel continues to indirectly influence millions of people through the Moody Church, the Moody Bible Institute, and Moody Publishers. Moody left an amazing legacy, but it all started with a call to consecration. It always does, and nothing has changed. The world still to this day has yet to see what God will do with and for and through and in and by the man or woman who is fully and consecrated to him. So why not you? Why not now? Think about that. You can do amazing things right now. God promised us. He said, ask anything in my name, I will do it. And he also challenged us, and he told us that greater things we will do because he goes to the Father. Christ walked on water. Christ healed the sick. Christ healed the blind, gave sight to the blind. He raised the dead. He turned water into wine. He fed multitudes with a couple of pieces of bread and a fish. And he tells us that greater things we can do because he goes to the Father. And the thing is, God's not just going to give that to anybody just because they ask him one time for 30 seconds. You got to put all on the table for God to give you all in return. It's about time we start claiming these promises, drawing circles around them, standing in there like a fortress, fortified by these promises, and go all in with God. There's really no excuse why we don't. Why not you? Why not now? If the Bible were written today, would you be a main character, or would you be somebody in the multitude? You can make that decision now. You can choose who you want to be, how your story will end. If you give God everything you have, God will give you everything He has. I promise you, and I pray that you take this challenge, just like Moody took that challenge hundreds of years ago. That what God can do through you, the world has never seen. Allow Him to direct your life. Forget about what Haitians got to say about the choices you make. Everybody's not going to be a nurse. Everybody's not going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a pastor. Go all in with God. Find something that you want to do based on your talents and see what He has for you. I promise you, if you allow Him to do that for you, you won't be disappointed. So why not you? Why not now? Think about it. God bless. We're going all in. See you tomorrow.